The X-tinction Agenda, comics and movies of the 80s, 90s, and more.
I'm just going to record this anyway. I'm just going to tell you. I actually have no idea who that is or what he did.
Oh, the guy?
Yeah,
the
like I
rich...
stayed in the dark.
It's weird.
I never read
Okay,
about him.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Usually I'm up on like pop references and garbage news. You know, it's kind of.
But the
what I
one
do.
time there's actually a billionaire pedophile, you're out to lunch on that?
Yeah, I missed the ball on it. I don't know what happened. There's no good articles about it. He's
Yeah, well, there's
actually
not.
a pedophile?
Well, yeah, young girls.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty.
fuck.
And so it had been well known for a long time, and it had even been reported. But the way the news cycle works, from time to time, like a story manages to finally bubble up to the surface. And I just wonder about getting back to the Whedon thing. I bet these stories were taking place all the time, and all of a sudden we care. All of a sudden,
so.
comicbookresources.com needed a story, and it hit the right person at the right time and got some clicks, and then the feedback loop.
Yeah, I think part of the campaign on Whedon, I think is, I don't like it because it's like part of it is his ex-wife saying, he slept around on her and shit like that. And I don't care about that really. That's
I don't give a fuck.
That's your own business. It's like marriages break
Fuck
apart.
yeah.
That sucks.
Welcome to the club, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. But and then I have no idea the whatever the shit show is with the DCU, I don't know, man.
He
it
did
sounds
a bad
like
job directing Justice League. I'm not that butthurt about that.
yeah, and he just
I
stepped
think
in
the
and took
actors
over
were
a project.
I think the actors were flat. I'm very excited to see fucking Snyder just paint it with shit too.
Well, we've already for audience members interested in what we have to say about the Snyder Cut, see our Nightwing episode, or Nightfall episode. We should have a Nightwing episode.
No, you should say see the future.
Yeah, see the future.
Yeah. A review of all 4 parts of the Snyder Cut.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No fucking thanks. It's bad. It's bad. It's
down.
Yeah, bad enough. I had to fucking watch WandaVision. So, yeah, welcome.
Yeah, you were dragged definitely reluctantly into this, and you maintained your position.
Big dog segue. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to the X-tinction Agenda, everyone. With Chris, James, and James. You'll figure out which one's which as we go. Today we're talking about. I don't know. I watched episode 5, 8, and 9 of WandaVision on Disney Plus. I stole it. I'm not going to give you money, Disney. You can fuck off. And then we're going to do some Avengers West Coast, some of the source material for this particular storyline.
Beautiful.
I watched the entire thing and
Same here.
also watched some TikToks related to it in between.
Whoa,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's further than I'm willing to go.
Yeah, that's
You're gonna give us a broad perspective.
What do you mean by TikToks about it? Is it like little mini interviews, or is it just people dressing up like Wanda?
Mini conspiracy theories. Yeah, some people dress up, dun, dun,
Okay.
do the
That's
song.
fantastic. Yeah.
People got into this one.
Oh man, they
Really
went
into
deep.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always
And,
disappointing. And then people get so mad because their ideas, whatever they think it is probably more exciting than what actually happens, and it's just a shit show.
Yeah, I was I knew it was I was seeing Lost level speculation on this fucking show, and then
It felt
and I
like
knew,
Lost in a way.
Yeah, and I knew it was just going right into the bowl, just right into the bowl.
You guys want to hear something funny? Paul
Yeah,
Bettany
sure.
trolled these people.
Oh,
What did
good,
he do?
He
man.
told them that there was a mega star entering the fray, and that he was very excited to work with him, that he had waited his whole career to work with this person, and it was himself.
That's amazing.
Oh shit, that's funny because he fought himself, right? That's funny.
Yeah. So then everybody, that's when the fucking Fassbender shit started. The speculation about Cumberbatch, name it. Yeah, they were going off the fucking deep end.
That's I mean that's weird, but I can see the show lends itself to that. It's got mystery elements. I don't know why it caught on so much, but I think it's just because there's the money of Disney behind it. It wasn't I'll admit that it has a fairly interesting premise. I think it falls apart. I don't really care for how it's all executed, but I think it's kind of an interesting idea. And people thought, probably if it's this weird and there's this much money behind it, maybe we're going somewhere.
Yeah, I think there's something exciting to people, and it's exciting to me about like shows that are released like 1 week at a time too, where it's like it actually has a chance to build some buzz. You're kind of invested in it week after week. You don't have to binge watch it or some shit.
Oh,
it lasts
my goodness,
a bit.
Yeah. How common are these sort of shows nowadays? Would you guys say, guy? Like, I'm really out of the loop. I don't know what comes out weekly.
Yeah, this is the new. This is like sort of the. I don't know if it was HBO that started. I believe it was HBO that started it, but Disney, as soon as Disney like launched their platform, that was like one of their big established things. Like on their very first, like on their flagship show, The Mandalorian, they staggered episode launches.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
And
Netflix has been doing
that
it
was
too.
like, and everybody kind of like got woggled by it. Yeah, like they were, because they're used to the Netflix. Be like, here's season 1. Enjoy being a slob for fucking 48 hours if you want, and just do your thing.
I think Netflix has started to do it for premium shows, like sort of like like we want people paying attention to this, but like often it's just dump it, like you say, like a fucking 48 hours of slobness.
Yeah, I think that I think this lends itself to like a nicer sort of I don't know if I'm like romanticizing old TV days or whatever, but like actually like there is something to be said about like staggering the episode launch to let buzz fly around, to let like rumors take hold, to let people get excited week on week.
Yeah, well, it's just like comics, right? Like that's the ultimate goal of a comic. Like, and one of the things I like so much about a Grant Morrison comic is because it will week to week or month to month. Sorry, I'll have that time to think about it and speculate and elaborate. And I don't do it as much as I used to, but it is part of the joys of serialized entertainment. And sometimes it's useful. Well, sometimes it catches on, and other times it doesn't. And this was just felt like a weird little perfect storm show, little cultural blip turned into a big fucking bowl of nothing.
That's true.
Oh, well, I don't know. We're going to get into this, but so I don't know. Anyone listening to this probably knows what the storyline is. Do we want to?
We're gonna spoil the fuck out of it. So if you're concerned,
that's right.
We're gonna take a dump on this whole thing. Like if you haven't watched it, don't just stop yourself if you're spoilers.
Well, I guess the question, it's what's the story here? What is the show about? I guess we'll give a brief, synopsis. I guess. With that, I don't want to go like obviously. Let's just we'll completely spoil it. Basically, Wanda creates a parallel universe or a little mini pocket universe inside a giant hex, in which she has recreated television scenarios from the various eras of television, 50s, 60s, 70s, up until today, I suppose. And at first, everybody thinks that they're trapped in it, but then it's revealed, like I said, that Wanda created all of it. And then I'm not sure what the point is after that. Like what's the big thing that happens after that?
It is weird because it's like meant to be about grief, but like nothing really gets wrapped up that much in the end. And I kind of feel the same way. James, maybe you feel differently though.
So what do you mean, guys? It was a love story. It's a
love story. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely. Yeah.
Like Wanda's in love with the synthezoid, bro.
All right.
She made the pocket universe. she just like her grief spawned the whole thing. There's there's the moment with the she shows up in the little town with the little whatever, the deed to the property, and that's what sort of pushes her over the edge. I mean, like a lifetime of traumas pushed her over the edge, really. Ultron butchered her brother, and so on and so forth.
The straw that broke the camel is that her house is leveled, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then whatever. Tony Stark munitions or Howard Stark munitions blew up her family, and I don't know where that was.
Yeah. But
Eastern
I don't buy
Europe.
it. Yeah, I don't really buy it. Like, because basically I think the show constantly cashes checks, or it signs checks that its ass can't cash. And so, like think about the final episode when, they're faced off against the fucking deep state, and stuck between the deep state and a witch. Only the family is worth anything. And then, they're like, we know you're not ready for this, Jimmy and Billy, but you were born for this. Like, well, what?
Yeah.
Where the fuck does that come from? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
And
it's a sort of like, I find like the sort of like the idea of like the superhero family like just lame and cringy like anytime it's pulled off. And so it definitely had that, like, the seeing all four of them fighting together is just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know. That kids movie, The Incredibles.
I almost said it. I like that movie.
Honestly, I thought about that as a counter argument too, but I didn't want to. Yeah. I didn't.
You
Well,
were
actually,
drop
The
that bomb on
Invisibles is
everybody?
fucking awesome.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fine. Jesus. Well, you give me that one. Come on.
I would.
give you that one.
Honestly, I would love. Yeah, you're right, man. Of course, like that movie's incredible. I would love. Like, you've got the only superhero property that properly lends itself to a family take, the Fantastic Four. I actually haven't seen. I haven't seen those. I've seen bits of those other Fantastic Four movies. They don't seem like family movies. Good. Yeah, and like, I'd like to see maybe this treatment, the Wandavision treatment, somehow given over to the Fantastic Four, and then maybe I'm
luck for that. But.
Well, that's probably true. I don't want it so much that I want it to actually happen. Let me say that. It's just, I can totally live without seeing it. Yeah.
It just got absorbed into the Disney Marvel sausage, so it's gonna be blended and stewed, and you're gonna get a Fantastic Four reboot with the same hands involved in all of this. But, maybe not the exact same hands, but the Disney hand.
Yeah, the hands. Yeah, and they'll just plow through the material, steal the intellectual bits, put it all together into some sort of palatable stew, and just shovel it right into the mouth.
Right into my gullet. Yeah. So what really irked you? I mean, like, I found this unique. The way that they like did the, I mean, I guess like from a narrative perspective, the TV thing was a little cheesy, she used to watch sitcoms when she was a kid, but I mean, I thought it was very risky, to change the episodes like that and to do like sort of a clue based like show, with little Easter eggy things. And I mean, I guess that's not a new thing. That's like that was sort of present in all the Marvel, Avengers movies and stuff like that. But I think it was like kind of a risky move. I watched the first couple episodes and I thought, oh man, this is not going to take off, even though it's kind of enjoyable. But I don't know.
Well, Chris, do you want to answer that question first?
Sure, yeah, since I watched a lot of it. I actually I enjoyed the experience of watching it. But I always kind of felt in my heart that it was not going to stick to landing, and I feel that I feel my read on that, like, it came to fruition. But I like the sitcom-y thing. It was fun seeing the production values, even like in terms of like film quality, in terms of the music, the style of like whatever Family Ties to Malcolm in the Middle to like all those sorts of things that they touched on. That was pretty cool. And episode 5 that we kind of covered and are like meant to look at in detail, like that was a great episode, like probably a high point in the series. The experience of watching the show is weird because like so many of the jokes are corny, like you're like it's painful at times, and you're almost waiting for, it's like experience of waiting for those horror movie beats where everything kind of like is wrong and kind of like shit kind of jumps the shark, but just kind of like gets out of line. That like a lot of like, especially the first couple episodes, like it was like it's like painful jokes and you're just kind of like, what's going on here, like what, like then you can tolerate it because like you understand that it's working on a different level. So like the mystery, as long as the mystery's pulling you along, it was fine and a fun journey.
Yeah, Okay, so I didn't. Maybe my experience suffered from having not watched some of the earlier episodes. I kind of, hearing what you said, I've got two responses to it, and I'll call back to earlier in our conversation. We were talking about like what made this show popular, and I'm wondering if it's the utter familiarity of it, and like the purposeful familiarity of it. Like everybody understands the sitcom formula, and it is interesting that this show, like the Family Ties intro that I saw, I was like, oh shit, that's Family Ties, and they got the beats just right, and it's perfect for someone who of our age who I can't believe I'm talking like this, like Wanda, grew up watching these sitcoms, and and they're embedded in just like a deeper, like almost into the subconscious. And we're ready to pick up on them and return to our childhood. So that's probably not marketing. That's probably like just a consequence of art. But what irked me about this show is that it was boring. And like you spent like 15 minutes of every episode could have been eliminated. I just spent so much time watching people walk around and talk. And I'm fast forwarding through things, and people are having these really banal conversations. Man. No, that's boring. This show had no fucking balls, is my chief problem with it. This show is baby shit soft, to use your term. It wants to do something interesting, but it can't, and it half does. Like those horror moments could have been really fucked up. We could have had like a David Lynch show. We could have had something really off the wall, and it probably would have alienated audiences, and it would have been totally off brand for Disney. But that's not my problem. Like I don't need Disney to succeed for, like, that's not what I'm looking for in my art. As a matter of fact, often quite the opposite. So yeah, like the only thing I liked about this show is that Wanda essentially rapes an entire town and then puts on a hoodie and walks out, like just like, everybody gives it the shifty eye, like, and I was just like, that's a baller move, just walk. Yeah. In that scene. And then I was like, okay, that's, like, that is the extent of what this show has to offer me. And then I got some of the themes and whatnot in the background that I was troubled by, but we'll get to those eventually. So that's what irked me about it.
Okay, all right, that's pretty fair. I think that the things I noticed from Kate's monster social media crawl and TikTok fishing for spoilers and goofing around and talking about the show all week is that this show, despite not having the big balls for the horror moments, or maybe like not even like really like going after as grimy and horrific as the original subject material is, is that I noticed from watching her do her thing that they attained a weird audience. Like they picked up like a really diverse crowd and a really big female following, and I think that's like maybe something that's like that you could only do by sort of walking the line they walked here in between, sort of like a bit of a softer touch. Oh, that didn't come out right. But
no, that's a good point.
No, you're right. Like the show I'm interested in, like maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. I think maybe Cynthia would watch it, but
that's what I mean. I think for building a big audience, the approach might have been spot on. Also, I think you missed some charm in episode 1. Had Deborah Jo Rupp, aka Kitty Foreman from that 70s show.
Oh yeah, all right.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care about any of that. All right. So here's another thing that irked me. Now that I'm looking at my notes, I have one of my notes is called Rave Dance Fighting. And every time Wanda uses her powers, she does that thing with her wrist. I wish this was a video podcast so that way people could see. She just. Yeah, she's walking around all stupid, and everybody's wristing each other, and you're just like, I guess the Vision fight was pretty legit, but otherwise it felt like watching Dark City. Do you remember Dark City?
I thought about that exactly. Yeah, whenever you have two people blasting energy at each other, it's not entertaining.
Yeah, and that's all this show fucking did. At least in the episodes I watched, it was just like people just Dark Citying each other, and I was just I don't care about that.
I don't think it's totally fair to episode 5 because there's that like badass moment where Wanda like walks out of the hex and like confronts the olive sword, basically, or like whatever their office there, and then like stands down the director and then has all of the men basically doing the classic Magneto, like levitating all the firearms, but like turning all the men on the director, like they're all
turning them on.
Yeah, mm-hmm. that was cool.
Yeah, what took me out of that is her goddamn fucking Eastern European accent, which
kind of came and went.
Yeah, kind of came and went. Yeah, Russian. Well, yeah, whatever it is.
They had a go at that in one of the earlier episodes.
Yeah.
Or was it in one of the ones you watched?
I think it was.
Yeah. Agnes makes fun of it. That accent really comes and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny stuff.
I like Elizabeth Olsen though. I gotta say.
I didn't even like her performance. Yeah.
Wow.
The only
that's gonna be the Vision guy. Oh, Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your poor man's Paul Weller. That guy's my boy.
He's good. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. He had the charm. Anyway, yeah. Well, there's gonna be different mileage for actors and whatnot. So but Olsen didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah, I think that would hurt. Like a viewing of this if you didn't like her at all.
Yeah, but I don't like lots of people. I just don't want anyone to think that I didn't like this show because I don't like Olsen. Like that's just like that's real low down in the reasons that I didn't care for this show.
That's fair. That's fair. So, but you did enjoy Paul Bettany.
Yeah. He, he's like, I think I mentioned in our conversation, he's got that Commander Data thing going, but not so cold. He's more like a nervous Englishman, and maybe that's what he is in real life. I have no idea. So yeah, that's kind of all right.
Yeah, I think they kind of shit the bed on a lot of the finale, particularly like there's so many like loose ends, like the Quicksilver thing, like it was just some actor, and like that didn't make like what was the point of Monica Rambeau even being there? Like her only point was to discover that the guy who was Quicksilver was hired. Like that doesn't, I don't know. But like the one thing I think they really got right was the final moment between Wanda and Vision, which was pretty cool. And when he's just saying like, oh, like what am I? Like what am I going to be next? That sort of thing. That was a nice touch. And he really sold that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I guess I'll accept that. By then I was drowning in schmaltz. I had this whole fucking show the whole time, like while it was happening, it's like, here's another quote. This is our home, and then I don't even know who fucking says this next line. Let's fight for it. And all I saw out of this show was the gifts that people are going to create. It just seemed so like everybody was just going to create their little like teenage infatuation memes about this fucking thing and share them on the internet, and like it was Doctor Who, and I'm just like, I mean, like just like the David Tennant memes I'm thinking of, and specifically, this is kind of pitched at that demographic, but just so explicitly, it I don't know. Yeah. But
there's still theories that that Ralph Bohner has some kind of a future.
That's funny. That's funny. His name was Ralph Bohner. Yeah. Laughed about being a boner.
That's fine, but it just like it needs to have some sort of dramatic wrap up within the context of the show, right? Like it has to come to something in within this. I also weird, like, I didn't feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I felt nothing for the fact that she lost her kids, like, then she had to dissolve them. It just felt like a non-issue after they got their moment where they got to run around and fight, and then they dissolved, or no, I guess they were put to bed, like, you didn't see them disappear, but yeah, it just felt like, I don't know, it felt like that should have some emotional weight.
Yeah, well, let's go back to my comment about the show not having any fucking balls. You know, like what actually ought to have happened in a circumstance like that is she blows up the fucking world because they want to take her children away. You know, like that's a proper human response to an insane circumstance. You know, like whether she's guilty, whether she's victimized people or not, a mother often is going to fucking fight. Hell be damned for their kids, you know. So
they're setting her up to like for a future, like, you know,
mommy,
destroying
daddy,
the world thing.
Me. Yeah.
Also, in terms of plot holes, I mean, like, if you had the Feds, Sword, fucking Shield, Billy Bob Thornton, and everybody else from the U.S. Faux military that the Marvel universe has built up, the first thing anybody would do is get on the phone and be like, "Can we get the Avengers down here and put this fucking broad down?"
Yeah, you'd have to have that confrontation. Like, that'd be a whole, like, you know, they don't have the budget to. Plus, it seems like they're setting up like we
don't have the budget to have Steve drop down into the middle of the fucking thing.
Exactly.
I mean, like, and I know they semi-address that by, like, basically, I believe they pushed this thing through the course of, like, they said that she was in there for like 9 days or something. There was a mention of that at one point, that this just happened like bang, 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 like that it was a very quick turnaround, which is fair, I guess. Then you could sort of put that excuse in your mind. Then the other thing too was the like. The fact that one of those people, when they woke up from being under her control, which was a really cool moment around the third episode when Vision sort of broke the control himself, and then he freed one of the people from her, like, oversight or whatever, and had a flat conversation with her, and then like attacked her during the credits of the show or whatever.
You even saw that in the episode that James would have seen in episode 5.
Yeah, episode 5,
at the computer office, and like the guy's like, "Oh, like, email, do I have to put a stamp on it?" But then when they get that communication from Sword, like, everyone in the office starts like reciting it, which is really creepy. And then he breaks the control of the one guy and he's just like flipping out, like, "Oh, my kid's sick, I gotta get to her."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even the one lady at the end saying like, "Oh, please let my children go. They've been in their room for like fucking days," or whatever. Like, there's like little, like you say, I guess maybe that was like sort of a softer touch approach to like horror.
But
like,
that makes sense. Like,
horror happening in the background, but they never really brought it to the table, you know.
But he is a hero, and like, I mean, bearing that in mind, like, she doesn't bringing the awareness that other people's children are suffering. I think that's what moderates her response. And I don't know if you stuck around for the post, like the post credit scenes, James. I'm guessing you probably didn't. Yeah. But at the end, she's reading the Darkhold.
Yeah. No, I watched the post credit scene.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, no, I know the fucking formula. That's a nice touch too. That actually feeds in, I think, into the popularity. People really like that. Did you wait till after the credits? You know, and it just adds to the. I don't buy any of that. She's not a hero. She's a mentally ill individual who happens to have a rocket launcher or a gun or a knife. And need, you know, and ought to have been dealt with very harshly. You know, like dealt with. You know, and those people who came out of those, like, I didn't feel that guy was really worried about his kids. I didn't feel that lady was really, like, the words evoke feelings, right? Just the talk, the blah blah, and the content. But those actors and actresses, they weren't doing anything. No one was doing anything, except for Paul Bettany and the Agnes. What's that actress's name?
Oh, I hated her. Did you?
Yeah. She's
way too campy.
Oh, I'd see. That's at least something. You know, like, I was into something.
Yeah, you know what? I really disliked her out of the get, and then when they revealed her with the little goofy Agatha All Along song,
That was fun.
was
I
very
did like
annoyed,
that.
and I was like, Kate, please tell me that they didn't use a Saturday Night Live actress as the main villain in the show, which they did in the end. But she did grow on me and showed like some range and passion for the role, as it went on. Anyway, that's just me.
Yeah, no, I thought she brought a degree of fun that the show was just straight up missing. Like the show that's another thing. The show took itself way too seriously.
Oh, you got the serious episodes, like the.
Well, that's true.
Have
That's
you
true. I
watched
did.
the rest of it?
Yeah.
It was very lighthearted at times.
Right, and that's actually coincidence. I just picked. I think, right, James, you didn't assign me any. I think I just picked random bits.
Yeah, you did. You watched more. You dipped into more than I thought you were going to.
Oh no!
But
actually, you guys
true
did. We'll go on.
Yeah, we did pick that one because I thought that it sort of like I thought that having the plot flushed out would be better than showing the artsy bits, which maybe was a mistake in retrospect. But hey, whatever.
Well, 5 is so like it's such a turn in the show too, because it's like where Wanda starts to lose control of the situation a little bit and becomes aware that something odd is happening, but she's like hiding it from everyone else. And like that's where she first decides like she just uses her powers in front of Agatha, and Vision's like, oh, like what are you doing? He's like, what? She doesn't notice that. She didn't even notice when the twins aged up.
Right. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. So if you're gonna get a glimpse of the show in an episode, I think that one's pretty important.
Yeah. I see. Here's now we're stuck in that zone that I end up in when so it's the reason that I watched the fucking extended version of Lord of the Rings. So that way no one could pull like any sort of well, if you see
No, I'm not saying that you missed out on a 5-star show, man. Like if you didn't like episode 5, then I don't think that like watching the I Love Lucy rehash in black and white would have made you any less annoyed by the content of this in any way, shape, or form, with like a little Easter egg Tony Stark helicopter or some fucking thing. You just would have been even more agitated that even less happened.
Right.
I'm comfortable putting that out there, but what did you think of the Vision fight? The conversation piece where he talked himself down.
Wait, like it was an Isaac Asimov robot? Like, no thanks. Like that's.
I like that.
Just like cool. That. I thought it was neat.
Yeah, he's like, I'm actually not real Vision. It's like simple. A machine that complicated is not going to be tricked by like a logic trap. They'll just be like, oh yeah, I know. I'm sent here to kill you, and then they'll fucking continue. Like it was a nice way of dealing with it. It was a good sort of character moment, but I wasn't buying it. That you're gonna have to try harder to make that work. Like you're gonna have to make the Vision, the robot that he fights, less intelligent and more.
I thought they did.
Well, I obviously I disagree.
Okay. Like it seemed like he was just like stripped down and reprogrammed and like sent after him without full faculties.
Well, that's true. That is the case, but I don't think enough. Like he would have to have acted like Robbie the Robot for me to have bought that. And he didn't. Oh. He didn't do that. So yeah, that's right.
Query.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like really fucked up and like why am I fighting this fucking delayed thing? Jesus Christ. So
yeah, I think they maybe tried to go for that and didn't quite pull it off. But I think I guess you could entertain the idea that the creature felt like it was missing, or that it was locked out of some parts of its memory and was giving like a moment to reflect or whatever. But I mean, like, why would it be interested in that if it was reprogrammed anyway? I guess
all of that shit.
Very good point.
All I'm hearing is that he was beaten by the power of love or some shit. I
mean, it's a Disney movie, man. Disney joint.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I like, but aside from all that, it struck me that the fight scene was pretty legit. I was like, this is like a movie level superhero fight scene. Like this is, I could see this in any of the Avengers movies, and it made me think about like the Superman franchise in television, and all the shit that the DCU gets up to. Like I've watched a couple episodes of Supergirl, not as slick as this, but
that's
television. Yeah, well, I just think television and movies are starting. Yeah. Obviously the Disney's got like the special push to put behind it, but it's just interesting to see that television can do a lot of the things that these superhero franchise movies can do. Because like the action that takes place in these Avengers movies is just fucking getting back to the Lord of the Rings. It's just this CGI mess. Nothing really like exceptional is occurring for the most part. There are some cool scenes in some of the movies, but. So of course you can put it on TV because you're like, whatever, man. It's just fucking beans and potatoes.
Did you like the little nods? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, James.
No, go. You go.
I was just gonna say, do you guys like the little nods to the comic, like when she like has the kids like kind of like leashed on her hands at the start of episode 9?
Well, I didn't think about that, but I guess you're right. Yeah, she's. Yeah, I guess we can.
Yeah, let's dip in there. A little more muted than the comic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess I already said, but Avengers West Coast issues 51 and 52, November to December 1989, and these are all fucking John Byrne. So Johnny Byrne, he's in the late 70s, he's doing the X-Men. He's on that, like seminal X-Men run with Claremont. And then he goes off and he does the Fantastic Four, and he does a lot of awesome Fantastic Four comics. He goes on to do Alpha Flight after that. I don't know a thing about those comics, but they look like shit. Does a Hulk run that's kind of ho-hum. And then he revolutionizes Superman comics in the early 80s and sort of modernizes Superman. And then this is what he does after that. He's starting, something weird's happening at this point.
This was a pile of shit.
Yeah.
This was fucking awful.
He's a fucking
I honestly don't think like this is in line with some of the worst Image comics we read. This was crap. It was like weirdly I got really dug into the dialogue. But it was so unnatural. The conversation was unnatural. The art was even worse. I'm
glad you said that.
Were stupid. Everything was bad. The color was bad. It was like honestly like I can't even fucking believe what I read, and I don't understand how they sold any of these.
Can you imagine being John Byrne and then like it's like you've just revolutionized Superman? What Avengers team do you want? All right, give me Human Torch, give me US Agent, maybe a guy who might be Tony Stark and might not be, Wonder Man, like just like the biggest shit show of a like B-lister cast.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So all right, nerd moment. No, nerd moment. These are the original Avengers.
Oh no.
Pym is the original Avenger. Wasp is the original Avenger. Scarlet Witch shows up in issue like 5 as part of the Avengers. Wonder Man shortly thereafter, episode like issue like 9, 10, 14, whatever. Iron Man, obviously an original Avenger. Vision is very classic as an Avenger, and U.S. Agent stands in for Captain America. It's a straight up classic team. When the Avengers at this time, I mean, this isn't, I'm just saying, it's not a bunch of B-listers, but it feels like it because the Avengers used to be a bunch of fucking B-listers.
Just, I guess to me, Avengers without like Captain America, without Tony Stark, and without Thor is kind of like, I don't know, just like, not your A team.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, you got the Iron Man, but
yeah, I agree. The weird
we don't
thing
know,
is that you're not sure if Tony Stark's in there, but he's giving you those baby blues through that shitty helmet.
Exactly.
And it's Tony, but whatever. I can't tell you. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Anyway, and then the U.S. Agent is ridiculous. Who the fuck pulled the trigger on the U.S. Agent? Like, I'm gonna do Captain America. It's gonna be Captain America, but it's not gonna be Captain America. What the fuck is the point of that? Like,
he shows up in original Captain America comics. I'm just
saying, like, what's the end game in putting a guy in the exact same costume, having him have the basic same moral compass and face, and then have him run around with the same shield. That's like the dumbest thing ever. That's like having purple Wolverine or something. It's just the dumbest fucking idea I've ever heard. Like, I'd slap you in the face if you presented this comic to me and I was in an editing room.
He's more of a hothead. He's more of a government stooge than Cap is. That's his shtick.
Man, if that's his shtick, I can't even think of it in even more minute way to separate them.
Well,
Cap's
that's not
literally
fair.
dressed as a government stooge.
No, I don't think you're being fair to your own love of the Cap. They're very different, you know.
No, I mean, I feel like more modern stories flushed out my love of the Cap personally, but
yeah, there's a Captain America story in the 90s where the ultimate threat is that someone's trying to turn him into a woman. we have to fucking read that.
Oh,
shit.
for sure.
Yeah.
That seems like a big issue to me. I don't know. You can't do that as Captain America. Jeez. In the 90s, that seems a little out of place.
There was also this like, yeah. Go on.
Be a bit more progressive by that point.
Well, I think maybe they had I don't know. I haven't read the comics. Maybe their heart was in the right place, but just like saying it out loud, you're like, man, who fucking okayed that? Well, the same people who okayed fucking Avengers West Coast, you know, with John Byrne. I want to comment on the art for a moment. It is a departure. It is a departure for John Byrne's art style, and I've been reading a lot about Steve Ditko lately, and this comics is Steve Ditko as fuck. Like, I just see a ton of him kind of playing around with the Steve Ditko style, and I know you don't care for that style, but it would make sense if he was biting that style for it to be, you know, more unattractive, because I think other John Byrne stuff, it does not look as bad as this.
I actually had to go and like look to remind myself. Like, I went to look at some X-Men page and I was like, no, I do like John Byrne, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Even in Superman, I can see some competency in like some of the expressions and action. But like, I mean, I don't, man, like, if this is the passion that you felt inside you to write and pencil, like, just shelf it, buddy. Like,
yeah, no, this is weird. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
At this point, like, yeah, it's just such a like self-referential heavy, because he makes reference to his own storylines in the past. You know, like he makes reference to all these Fantastic Four issues that more or less like he wrote. And so it's kind of like Morrison in the sense that he has his own little universe, but you know, obviously it's not like Morrison in the fact that it fucking sucks. But
yeah,
I love that
and
I was just gonna say everybody has an identical chin. I was a big fan of that.
That's true. They all look like fucking U.S. agent.
Did you catch that panel? There's a panel where Human Torch is like crawling out of some pool. He got wet, so he can't light up for a second. And it's like the panel is basically focused on his ass, and it's just like
That's
his
a
giant
gratuitous
voluptuous
ass
ass
shot,
right there. Yeah, it's very
that stayed with me too.
That's funny. You've been waiting all day for that. I remember. Yeah, I remember. I don't remember the gratuitous ass shot, but I remember the 3 panels afterwards of explaining like how he can use his powers after being in the water. Everybody's like, just don't. I wrote it down. It was like flaming. Oh shit, where is it? No, I didn't write it down. Sorry. Wait, no, Torch, be careful. You're still wet. You're just like, well, he'd be completely
ineffective. What would happen?
Yeah.
Though, like, water doesn't, like, you don't get hurt when you mix fire and water. It's not like he was soaked in gasoline.
Yeah. It's not made of electricity.
Being careful about. Stupid.
Yeah. He's a robot. He's a robot. That's probably not clear to you. Maybe she was worried. Oh yeah, that's such an ass shot. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's prominent.
That's America's ass.
Yeah. This is. I will say that this is the only comic where Hank Pym seems kind of cool. You know, like he doesn't seem like a wife-beating monster or a weirdo in a stupid costume. He seems like a man.
You found it was cool that he pulled out random miniaturized weapons from his pants that like did different things and were stupid. I need a gun here.
Yeah.
what is happening? And he had that silver jumpsuit on. An idiot.
Oh, man. That's a shame.
They shouldn't have brought him along.
Big fan of that.
Oh, that.
It looks like one time when he takes the blaster literally from his crotch. I'm looking at it just before. You mean Master Pandemonium? Yeah.
I wonder how many of those like fucking weird weapons he's packing on an average basis in mini size. Stupid.
Yeah. It's just like, I keep these mini guns. I want to see him fucking reach for those things in his pockets. It's like finding his keys. He should be way more ineffective. Just because something's tiny doesn't mean it's accessible. Is it like quite like kind of the opposite?
Guys, he's a genius.
I mean,
that's true.
I mean, also, like, honestly, you went to like an extra dimensional realm or whatever. You fucking brought like sort of like a fucking goofy nail gun with you.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
Weapons or anything like half decent. I guess that didn't help them anyway, because Iron Man hit him with enough to level a city block or whatever.
Oh, no, I love his comments when he's firing his needle gun. It really stuck out to me. Where is this fucking needle gun here? He's just like, now cut their wings or something like that.
He cut down a few demons, I guess, with his shitty weapons, you know.
Yeah.
Best page is Wanda yelling, no. The artwork is standout, and then when it flips over to the page of like 5 of them sort of horrified in the background, and Buddy just having this like derp moment with these he's got like this big shit-eating grin, and he has baby arms with like little baby kids attached to them. And like this should be horrific. Ended up being like the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life.
And it's this horrible like hall of demonic mirrors too, and it's just like, yeah, it should be awful. But like, you can't draw children. They just like little tiny men with like huge biceps just screaming at the end of his hands.
I guess we should really like take a second to explain what's going on with Master Pandemonium. It's like so fucking weird. Okay,
yeah, take a stab at it. Yeah, see if you can.
Let's hear this.
He's like, he kidnaps the kids, both of Wanda's sons, and he's attached them to his arms so that they are literally like puppets, like at the end of his hand, which he's holding up in triumph. It's fucking incredible. And he's like, literally like, the fruits of my labors have been far more productive than I thought.
Yeah. And this is supposed to
plan all along.
Yeah.
It's so fucking weird.
Yeah. Like, why would you even consider this as like moving forward? Who okayed this?
And also like, what the fuck? Like, what is Master Pandemonium doing? Like, I get you wanted to have a bad guy or whatever, but like he honestly like, fuck. Like, I just think there was a lot of different ways to go. This wouldn't be my A choice. And he's like replacing bits of his soul that Mephisto took because he was in a shitty car accident. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, the whole character is a mess. It's just useless.
I enjoyed
like, pure desperation, and they just like okayed this whole thing. And then my favorite moment, it's got to be the same favorite moment for all of us. I probably when the fucking the weird baby arm chews on Wonder Man's head.
Yes, for sure.
Until he's incapacitated, like nom nom nom. Fucking, I don't even know how that incapacitates you if you're like invulnerable to physical attacks. But I mean, he was done. He was laid out. He just got his face eat.
I enjoy how much joy Master Pandemonium has on his face too. There, he's like a kid who's just like playing with a Christmas toy. You know, it's like so happy.
Yeah, and like his other arm is also this like and everybody's getting it's like 2 pages of just all the Avengers being just fucked.
Yeah.
And then
he's like channeling hellfire through one of the kids' face. Like, oh, it's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
I think
then Mephisto shows up. Mephisto did not need to show up for this story. Like, it was an unnecessary level of complication that took like, it was really like only 4 pages too. So it was here as quickly as it was gone. And you're like, well, what the fuck what are you wrapping up, John? Like, how does this fix anything?
One thing I really enjoyed about Master P's story here is that he his goal is to reclaim his soul. He's got 5 pieces of his soul taken by Mephisto, or at least he thinks that's what happened. As he collects his soul, he does not become any, like, you think he become like less evil or something like that, like restores humanity, but no. But I like how they kind of covered it, because the guy was a movie exec before he was in this accident where he needed to like replace his arms with demons, and maybe he's like a Weinstein kind of guy, you know, like, so he becomes more evil as he collects his soul. It's perfect.
Wow. There we go, and also like full circle for our conversation. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of full circle. Sorry. The one of the theories ongoing is that since what's his name, Boner was sitting in front of a TV there in his little apartment, that he is actually Master Pandemonium controlling the TV world. That he was like the executive in Wanda's. They're reaching, man. They're reaching.
No, okay. Well, what struck me about reading these is like there's so much of the WandaVision show is contained within this story. There's even a reference, they talk about Bewitched. They're like, actually, there was a reference to that in Bewitched, and she's like, and you stand around discussing television shows?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously like her fucking slow, steady decline into madness, the whole thing with Vision, Agatha Harkness. It's like they read these issues, like 50, 51, 52, and somehow WandaVision was born of this madness. And maybe Tom King's comics as well, his Vision series.
Right, because the family, yeah.
And I think they just kind of like that was their that was the sandwich they made out of this, and then it went to the writer's room. Sorry.
It's an interesting peek at like their process, because I've never, I always assume that like they have these comics more or less fully formed and they're just drawing from like a story arc, but like no, yeah, you're right. They've created, like, they've pulled like a couple bits of like the essence out of this and like made it palatable, I guess. But it's too bad though, because like Agatha is like just like she's awesome, and like she's a boss bitch, like when she just like shows up out of nowhere and they're like, I thought you were burned at the stake, and she's like, I don't have time to tell you that story, but your kids are fucking freaks and you got to do something about it.
This is another John Byrne character. This is like, she was in the FF, like it's one of his characters, some like that basically like only exists because of him. So it's interesting to see him like kind of his Marvel Universe stuff is basically the Agatha Harkness story. Anyway, and even the section about when she says, burned at the stake, I was like, oh, they incorporated that into the WandaVision too. They've got a scene where she's like being burned at the stake. And this whole like past life thing. It was just kind of like you said, a peek behind the curtain.
And she'll be reactivated, like in the show too, like in the movies at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely. But you have to wonder too, like, who is sitting around in like a Disney writing room and is like, oh man, like I got the sweetest ass fucking Wanda story that'll definitely let us make a show about her and Vision, like, and picks this garbage up.
Well, that's how the writers' rooms go, though. Like they get, here's how I think the sausage gets made, and I really don't think I'm wrong. Like from what little I understand from interviews from writers, is they just go through all the intellectual property, and like all of it. That's why in the WandaVision series, like you and I were talking, about, or I was talking about how Vision's sweaters were on point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of those references to fucking Roy Thomas Avengers comics, circa 1970 or thereabouts. And they just go through all the shit, and then the writers, it's just this factory process of just mining and churning, and isn't that kind of interesting? And let's play with that, and and then they try to create, like you say, something palatable. And they're often wildly successful because they know how to do that over at Disney.
Yeah, I had a couple thoughts, like the if this was a script prior to being fabricated, it maybe would have been really horrific to read in comparison to watching this like goofy art play out. Even just like little scene where that like sort of sloth critter just like twists Vision's head off his body, which is ludicrous that was even allowed to happen. And then I don't know if you guys noticed too that Human Torch showed up on the scene at the end when they were all doomed, and just like basically like enacted some kind of trap that fucking turned Master Pandemonium inside out and effectively like butchered Wanda's kids in front of everyone and was like, "Oh, you're welcome. I saved you guys." Like they could have done that from the get if they wanted, I think. But yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like the God is the machine.
Yeah, and that's true. It's pretty. Yeah, good point. I guess he got the soul from Wanda, right? Because like the bits that he just gives Master Pandemonium his soul back, and then but
call him Master
it was actually
P.
Mephisto's. I did call him
Master P. Yeah, Master P is totally. I wanted to. Yeah, let's go with that. Master
I like
P.
that. Yeah.
And so I guess it was Mephisto's trap all along. Like he told them that he was collecting pieces of his own soul, but it was really Mephisto's soul. It is really convoluted, but that returns him to Mephisto somehow. And the kids are not kids; they're actually part of Mephisto's soul, and Wanda's magic like shaped them, used them. Yeah, what a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, well, and that's why all the kids were talking about Mephisto. Like I didn't understand until rereading these issues why everyone was talking about Mephisto showing up. Like that was part of the speculation, or I don't know. Like lots of people. James said that some people were thinking that.
That'd have been more fun
if the devil showed up.
Yeah,
it's always more fun. But then your stakes are a little like high beyond overcoming.
Yeah,
gonna have to build up to that.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's the same thing with the fandom was very excited about the idea of like possibly dipping through into Doctor Doom. But I feel like that's your new Avengers movie bad guy. He needs to be Thanos-esque and used sparingly and cast grandly if you're gonna go that route.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck around with that. You don't want him to like be a Superman and Lois villain.
Or like you don't want him to be you don't want to have your Fantastic Four's already been rebooted twice, and it failed both times because you took it too lightly. You picked a guy that did an okay job, but was a little too campy. You phoned in the Thing special effects and fuck it, you end up with a goddamn fucking Play-Doh masterpiece. It's fucking shitty.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we got to go to the review board on how we feel about WandaVision and Avengers West Coast 51-52. Yeah.
Okay.
So how do we want to rate WandaVision? How many
hexes?
How many hexes? How many fucking Eastern European wall DVDs? Actually, you know what we didn't talk? Sorry, we didn't talk about the like. Before we get to the ratings, sorry. We just haven't talked about how it was. Or we did a little bit, but something about nostalgia in that series, I think, and I guess I did comment on it a little bit. But if I wanted to give actually, this maybe we'll go into reviews. I'm going to give my review first because I got a little postscript, I guess, about WandaVision. I'm going to give it a positive reading. I'm not going to give it a good review, but I'm going to give it a positive reading just out of fairness. The current political climate, the current like where we are right now, to my mind, is ultimately a consequence of nerdish nostalgia and a desire amongst society to just make America great again. And so for the show to enter into that space and want to critique it in some sense with respect to superheroes, I'm actually really all for that. And maybe like the final thing that irks me about this fucking show is it doesn't have the balls to do it. So on that note, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10 and just say like kind of wasted potential all around.
Stiff review.
Mm-hmm.
Should I go? I'll go.
You're going to give it a 10 out of 10.
If I think about the finale, I want to give it like a 5 out of 10. But I think about episode 5, I want to give it like a 7. So I'll go with that. Like I enjoyed the experience of it. It was. I don't think I'd ever watch it again, but it was enjoyable as it went, and I wish it was more, like you said, but not the harsh rating.
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable right there too. I enjoyed it a lot more than some other things that I've seen recently, and also clearly after reading the Avengers West Coast, if you get this kind of quality out of that subject material, then hey man, I gotta give you a 7 out of 10. Are we reviewing the that's a light 7 out of 10 though. Like I could be coaxed into a 6.
Same here.
But I'm still on the 7. But just because of my own enthusiasm going episode to episode, week after week, I can't play that down. I was into it. But are we doing a review on these books too?
Yeah.
Because I'll lead you guys. I'll lead the way and just say that's a fucking 2-er. That's a 2.
Interesting.
That's 2 for me. 2 out
Never
of 10.
so low.
2's perfect. Yeah, 2's right.
Absolutely terrible. It was unreadable. There was no characterization. There was dumb banter. The artwork was that shouldn't even have been professionally published in some cases. The coloring, they just didn't color something. Didn't render any backgrounds at all. Like I can't even believe you were allowed to sell this. But yeah.
I'll give it a 3 because like it gave me the image of Master Pandemonium with his baby arms, which I'll never forget that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, those are 2 good pages, but I'm not coming away from my 2.
Oh, that's funny. It's funny how polarizing and like inverse we are on this. I like these comics for their zany fucking madness. Like this is prime. Like what I want from a comic is something fucking that je ne sais quoi. I want that fucking weirdness that can only come from comics and only come from people whose primary job is to express themselves through cartoons. And this is one of the most fucking cartoonish, absurd, wild, self-referential and even sort of classical in the sense that it reaches back to Steve Ditko. Kind of superhero stories you can get, like I don't think it's good. I'm this ain't Watchmen material, but I got to give this at least a 7.
Come on.
Because this is wild, man. This is wild. You'll never forget this comic. You're just gonna be like,
man, if that's the benchmark,
and so just like for a John Byrne little universe thing, I'm giving it maybe 6.5. How about that? 6.5. Okay. What was the measurement on this thing? What are our units?
Baby arms, 10.
6.5 baby arms out of 10. Yeah, great.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just telling you, this is making an issue of Sergeant Rock look like a goddamn fucking 5-star production.
That's one, Sergeant Rock comics are probably better than you think, and then 2, that's not fair. These are I guess what you got to do is like I can show you some stuff where it just like it's really looks atrocious. This is clear, like what everybody's thinking, what's happening. Your just mind is troubled by the fact that it is happening. And
my next step's going to be like just paying out that $1.99 USD and flipping to the next issue.
Yeah. I own 2 of the trade paperbacks. I own all of John Byrne's Avengers West Coast run, just coincidentally. It gets weird. It just like if you can, well, it stays weird. It stays weird. In just one of those ways that I just never forgot as a kid, and then I pick it up now, and I'm just like, oh boy, this is worse than I thought.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.